We are going to talk about this Monday Night Football Showdown. It's the final game of Week 8, and it's happening, I just want to remind you, Geoff and Pearce, on the first day of November in this year of 2021. It's the Giants at the Chiefs, and we need to talk about DFS plays in the showdown. There's a Millie Maker again on DraftKings. I'm looking at it right now. It costs $15 to enter. Imagine being able to turn $15 into $1 million. Well, how do you do that? You listen to these two dudes and the advice they're giving you. We'll start with, who are you captaining in this DFS showdown, Geoff?
I like going after the New York Giants receiving core. Now, look, I mean, this is going to take a little bit of, reading the tea leaves and what's going to happen tonight, because we have Sterling Shepard questionable, Kadarius Toney questionable. It sounds like Shepard is the one who is like almost certainly going to play, though, and that's where I would go for a captain spot. $7,000 in the flex, $10,500, in the captain. Shepard, as we've seen, when he's in, he's going to get peppered in targets. I mean, they brought him back for one game and promptly threw the ball 14 times to him. Kadarius Toney, it sounds like if he plays, it's going to be more of like, I'm not quite 100%. I'm going to be out there and giving it all in full spirit, and he's probably going to be running some deep routes still. But Shepard is the guy I think you have to lean on here against the Chiefs defense. Bottom of the league in most passing stats. Do not get their last in pressure. They get the least amount of sacks per game here. So, Daniel Jones is going to have time to sit back there. And I don't even mind Daniel Jones, but I'm saving him for Pearce because I know how much he loves Daniel Jones. I like going, though, cheap, because captaining Sterling Shepard, captaining a cheaper Giants wide receiver, well, it lets you fit in Kelsey coming back or Tyreek Hill or Mahomes. So, wait for the injury news to get 100% confirmation. But, man, if Sterling Shepard gets the go-ahead, which it looks like he's going to, I think he's a fantastic captain.
Yeah, that would save you some cash, too. He's only 10.5 up there in the captain spot. Again, if you're new to the program, everyone 1.5 times the salary, but you get 1.5 times the points in return. Pearce, so is Daniel Jones your guy?
Yeah, if you're new to the program, then you should know that we talk about Daniel Jones ad nauseum on here. But he's been relatively, significant in fantasy football. He runs the ball, he passes the ball well. He's always pretty affordable. And this is a great matchup. I mean, we've played him in tougher spots, and he's basically playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know people see Kansas City Chiefs, but this is the second worst pass defense. There's no pass rush whatsoever. He should be able to complete passes, get the yards to the air, get the yards on the ground. Will he get the touchdowns? That might be a bit of a concern, but on a showdown slate, I'm not really going to fret over that too much. Plus, that somehow they are 10-point dogs, which means they're going to pass more. And so I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than that. But Jones is pretty much the whole offense. Barkley's out. I can't imagine Devontae Booker is going to be, the main factor here on offense. So I think we're going to get a lot of Shepard. We're going to get a lot of Daniel Jones in this game against a bad defense.
Comparing the Chiefs to the Jaguars, someone woke up this morning and chose violence. Interesting, Pearce. Hey, who are you stacking with Jones then, Pearce?
Well, that's actually a compliment for you, Jags fan. You probably like being compared to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
Chiefs guys like that too much. Yeah, I'm going to take Shepard, the value play that Geoff just mentioned. He looked great in the first 2 weeks before injury. Now, yes, it's true. There's tons of injury concerns. If you've been following the Giants like we have, they get injured every week. A new receiver goes down. So, yeah, you got to worry about that. But we can't predict that. We don't know if Shepard's going to get injured on the 4th or 5th play of the game. But, in the 3 full games that he's played, he's caught 9 passes, or averaged 9 catches for 90 yards per game. The first 2 weeks, he was in an absolute perfect rhythm with Daniel Jones. And as Geoff mentioned, in his first game back, he got 14 targets and looked like he hadn't missed a game at all. I know Toney's right there as well, but Shepard has been his favorite target. And again, if for whatever reason Kansas City blows out the Giants, then there should be plenty of garbage points here for Shepard. If it's close, then I've got to believe that it's Shepard, not Devontae Booker, that's making this game close.
So, Geoff, natural stacked in with Shepard would be Jones, right? Or do you want to do something else?
I mean, it's definitely Jones, and I agree with what Pearce said. I think people are going to judge Jones based on his last 3 games. That's wrong, because he didn't have any receivers. He had really tough matchups. But we'll talk about someone else to give our producers some extra content here, because I do think you can stack with someone on the other side. And I think DARREL Williams in this spot makes a ton of sense. Maybe it doesn't make the most sense for the Chiefs to give DARREL Williams like 20 touches in this game, but you do feel like that's going to be the reaction from Andy Reid after just an insanely bad outing by his high-volume pass offense, or his high-flying pass offense. Last time we saw the Chiefs go up against the weak NFC East opponent, it was the Washington football team. DARREL Williams got 21 touches. He scored twice. He's not the most explosive back, but this Giants rush defense, it is one of the worst in the league. They're 10th worst in terms of yards per carry allowed. They've allowed a lot of big games to opposing running backs. I do think Darrel Williams is probably going to have a decent game here. You're probably going to see him breaking off, 6, 8 yard chunks with regularity. And at the end of the game, you're going to add it all up and be like, wow, this guy's got, 80, maybe 100 all-purpose yards, and he's probably found the end zone once. The Chiefs have a massive implied team total here. Darrel Williams is going to get the red zone looks. He's playing over 65% of the snaps when he's healthy. Jerick McKinnon's just coming in for scraps. It's not a sexy play, but like if I'm stacking a Jones, Sterling, Shepard combo on the other side, you've got to figure Darrel Williams is probably getting some scores for the Chiefs and making the Giants pass more. So I like stacking my Shepard captain spot with, just a Darrel Williams in the flex.
So, Geoff, what direction do you go in here if you need to find some value in the showdown?
Yeah, again, I'm going to stick with this Giants theme. I mean, their wide receiver spot, I think, is just ripe tonight. But Dante Pettis, even if Tony and Shepard both play, I think Dante Pettis is going to be involved here. 16 targets over his last 2 games. And again, it was not that long ago. Like, we're talking 2 years. People were taking this guy in like the 5th round of fantasy football drafts. He does have some pedigree. He's a good player. He just blew his chance with Kyle Shanahan, who tends to be a bit of a finicky head coach, and the San Francisco 49ers. But as you've seen, he's kind of been the guy who's jumped over the scrap heap of wide receiver fours for the New York Giants, and he's inserted himself into that wide receiver 3 role with Kenny Golladay still out. If we'd like Jones to pass the ball, and the Giants do average 39 pass attempts per game, if we'd like him to pass the ball maybe 40 times tonight, Pettis is going to be on the field, and Pettis is 5,000 in the flex. Kadarius Toney may not be 100%. He may not play the whole game. I think you could see Pettis push for 60, 70% of the snaps in the spot, regardless of who's active, who's healthy. I like him as a flex play as well. Again, I'm not going to play him over Shepard because Shepard's cheap, but I think you can still flex him and go with like a 3-man stack with Daniel Jones.
Okay, Pearce, save us some cash here.
Well, as we've already mentioned, Tony is another option at receiver that you'd want to slot in there if you're stacking up the Giants. And, we don't know if he's going to play. We're a little more concerned about him. He might get a little bit lower ownership. But another interesting play, now this doesn't necessarily work correlation-wise, would be the Giants DST. The one thing that we know about the Chiefs this year is that offense, as explosive as they are, they're making a ton of mistakes. Mahomes is turning the ball over left and right. I mean, there's a good chance that you can get a defensive touchdown. Now, I don't know if that necessarily is going to help you out with your Daniel Jones stacks, because we want Daniel Jones to be playing from behind and passing. And if they get a defensive touchdown, maybe they get the lead, maybe they give the ball to Booker. But if you are considering playing Booker, then I think you definitely want to go with the value in the Giants DST, because there's going to be that turnover potential there and the possibility for a defensive touchdown.
Dude, they were a great Week 7 flyer in season long last week. Just going to say it. I think it was close to 20 points. I love you for that, Pearce. Pat Mayo, by the way, really likes over for Mahomes' rushing yards here. What's your favorite player prop for the game tonight, Pearce?
He's on the wrong quarterback. The rushing total for Daniel Jones is way too low. It was 21.5 yesterday. It's already bumped up to 22.5 because people like to watch the sweat and got that advice.
Yeah.
I imagine it's going to go even higher. You look at Daniel Jones' rushing totals, 27, 95, 39, 27, 28. He missed against the Cowboys because he got injured in that game. He missed against the Rams because it's the Rams and they got blown out. But other than that, Jones has been running RPOs. He's scrambling well. He's getting pretty good protection. And then you look at what Kansas City has allowed on the ground to opposing quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson went for over 100. Jalen Hurts went for over 45. Josh Allen went for over 45. I think Herbert had about 15. Heineke didn't run, but that's because they won't let Heineke run. And then Ryan Tannehill didn't have to run because it was a blowout. So, I mean, again, end of the day, this is Daniel Jones versus the Chiefs defense.
Dang.
So you should be able to go over this total.
Okay, Jones has not run, though, with much reckless abandon in recent weeks. What do you want to do here for your player prop, Geoff?
No, I don't think you should buy into what Daniel Jones's last 3 games. Like, I would just kind of not look at his game logs. They've been so weird, injured, bad blowouts and on either side. So I'm kind of with Pearce. I like the over on Daniel Jones's more than Patrick Mahomes. You look at Mahomes, the one blow win that the Chiefs had, he only ran 3 times. So I don't know, 10-point favorites. I would rather go over on Jones. But my favorite player prop, I'm going to go back to Darrel Williams. Darrel Williams is minus 110 to score a touchdown in this game. But if you go into the special player props here, you can get Darrel Williams to score anytime and Kansas City to win the game at plus 115. again, Kansas City is coming in as plus 10.5 favorites. So it's not like we're taking on a ton of risk by adding them to win the game. And if Darrell Williams finds the end zone here, I mean, I feel like their win probability probably jumps up by like, a 2 times multiple here. So I like this. You're getting plus money. Again, it's plus 115 for Darrell Williams to find the end zone, which he's got a very good shot to do here against the Giants. He is their main red zone back. You've got to figure Andy Reid really just wants to run the ball as much as possible tonight and get out of here with a win and not turn it over 3 times. So I think all things considered, looking at Darrell Williams props, whether it's over the rushing yards to score a touchdown is good. But I think the best value here is with Darrell Williams to score and Kansas City to win. Again, it's plus 115.
You two have been busy. You two have been crushing it all morning long. But before we send you on your merry way, hook me up with your slate-approved pick tonight. Your favorite bet for the Chiefs hosting the Giants Monday Night Football, final game of Week 8 in the NFL. Geoff.
Again, I mentioned this one yesterday, and people have been fading me because the value has gone up.
Yep.
New York Giants, team total touchdowns, over 2.5. It's now at plus 150. It was plus 125. So clearly everyone's been betting against me for the last 24 hours. Don't be those people. Get on this. This is good value. One team that the Kansas City Chiefs have faced so far has failed to hit this. The New York Giants going to have Shepard back most likely, probably going to have Tony back too. Look, they got DANTE Pearce out there. I mean, former, fantasy stud.
Yeah.
So over 2.5 team touchdowns for the Giants. Again, it's plus 150. These are really nice odds we're getting.
All right, let's go, Pearce. Slate-approved pick, babe.
Give me the Giants and the points. I don't get this. Kansas City's only covered the spread 2 times this season. The Giants, they had a bad week 1, but then they went out week 2, covered the spread against Washington. Week 3, missed it by a hook against in the third matchup. Then they win outright against the Saints. They lose to Dallas. That's because Jones got injured. They got blown out by the Rams. Big deal. Then in their last game, they crushed Carolina as underdogs. This is way too many points for a Giants team that's perfectly average. They're not good, but they're average in just about every field, and their offensive line is playing better. Meanwhile, Kansas City is not a good team. The defense has problems. The Mahomes is struggling and making bad mistakes. I don't see how that's going to disappear. Their offensive line is not playing that well. They got a backup running back in. What are we doing? 10 points for the Giants? Yeah, I'll take that.